Action setting, being chased, coming near side, keeping the football. 40, 35, 30, 25, 15, 10. Go, Mike Vick!
This is over! It's over! Yes!
Everything screams run. We'll see if they pass, and they do, and it's Sapp. You think he loves it? Warren Sapp for the touchdown.
and the pogo stick.
I mean, is that all he's got?
Situation, but you just can't do that. You have to realize, and you can see him, he didn't even know he was out of bounds. Tough situation for a young quarterback, but you always got to be aware, Ron, of the situation.
Welcome back to another episode of Football Thursday, and this is going to be an awesome week here as you take a look here at the rankings here. I've been calling it. So, look here, Oregon's number 9, and guess what? Clemson's still at the top, and Oklahoma's dropped, folks. Oklahoma has dropped, and guess what? I've been calling it. All the people saying who have Clemson played and complaining about it are most likely Bama fans, because there's a ton of those bandwagons around anyways. Just, so Bama doesn't have to play against Dabo Swinney again. And guess what happened? Oklahoma lost to Kansas State, and Kansas State is no slouch this year anyways. But again, Clemson is in that position where if they lose a game, they're out. But as long as they win, they're still in. I had the same feeling last year where I thought I was smart. I'm like, I'm on to you, Clemson. I'm on to this week's schedule. And guess what? They won the damn thing. Again. And that's what happened. OU lost. And guess what? Georgia and Florida play each other, so one of them's gonna lose. Alabama and LSU play each other next week. One of them's gonna lose. So guess what? Clemson's gonna stay right there at the top. I don't care what anybody says. They're gonna stay right there at the top, folks. Because I don't move people unless I have to, unless it is a necessary move. Because if you make unnecessary moves, and especially when you're short staffed like me, because I'm my only staff member, it makes no sense. You see, if I'd probably move people a lot more and more consistently if I did have people to, do work for me. But hey, I'm doing my own work for me. I'm going to be as lazy as possible and still be able to put out this show as best as possible. And that's just, that's reality, folks. And again, guess who's smarter? Me, because Clemson's going to make it to the college football playoff at this rate. So all of you Clemson number 6ers, number 7ers, they haven't played anybody, can just sit back, relax, and cry and suck on your thumb. But without that, take a look here. We had Michigan trampling Notre Dame last week. We had Oregon surviving again. We had Ohio State trampling the Badgers of Wisconsin. It was a lot of tramplings. And and Oregon's going to make this college football playoff, folks. Oregon's going to make it. At this rate, Oregon's going to make it. And it's going to be hilarious. And, Auburn, LSU, Auburn law. And, LSU had a close game against Auburn. And, Appalachian State, I got number 11. I got the Utah SMU stuck in. Texas lost again. Texas, this was your chance. You lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost, and then you decide to lose. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. What the hell? Texas had 3 losses last year, but this is just 2 of the, they beat Oklahoma once, so I guess maybe if they can sneak their way into the Big 12 Conference Championship game and beat Oklahoma there, but then Oklahoma's going to be a 2-loss team, and guess what, that Oregon's going to jump that. Again, Georgia, it's going to go. Watch, this is the year where Oregon gets back into the college football playoff, folks, even with that loss to Auburn. They're going to be able to play their way back into this just due to the unfortunate circumstance that other teams end up having to beat up on each other. And then, that's exactly actually how it's going to roll. And as you can look here, Clemson 1, Bama 2, LSU 3. That's going to change very soon. Ohio State. Chase Young looks like an animal out there. Again, telling me that SEC has the best defensive players, best defensive players. Name me Three Bama players to come out in the last 5 years better than Nick, Joey Bosa, and Chase Young. Sorry, you can't. You can't. The stigma that SEC is the only conference that has defensive players or plays the defense is atrociously wrong by SEC fans, SEC board members, SEC athletic directors, coaches, boosters who also keep voting SEC teams into the college football playoff. Yeah, you remember that. Athletic current ADs are on the damn committee. So, it's that narrative that I think plagues college football more than anything. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to games to watch. Games to watch, it's kind of weird. So the Virginia Tech Notre Dame game doesn't start at 9:30, but it starts at 11:30. So I'm going to qualify it as the morning game to watch just because Virginia Tech's a solid program and Notre Dame again is a solid program. And then the pure afternoon game, 12:30, Georgia, Florida, all the way in Jacksonville. That's right, no home games here. It is a neutral site game on closest to the border of Texas and Georgia as possible, I guess. But that is a neutral site game, and that's going to be the big game there, and that's going to help push the Oregon Ducks into closer to a playoff contention. But and then you see the night game, Oregon at SC, and I heard this from Joe Clyde himself, watch out for the Trojans. And he's been pretty solid on these watch outs, so I'm going to take his word for it. He's been pretty solid on these watch outs so I'm going to take that into consideration. And that's just going to be the games to watch. I mean, yeah, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, Georgia, Florida, that's going to be a big one. We'll see how good, if Florida just stomps Georgia and Notre Dame had that close game, that's going to see how good Georgia really is, because Florida almost had LSU. So we're going to see how good Georgia was, and we're going to see how good Notre Dame was actually, and considering that Michigan lost, not very good at all. And then Oregon SC, again, my brother went to the Ducks, so I will pull for the Ducks. One of former high school guys, Popo, he's a current D lineman. If you follow St. Mary's High School, you would have seen that video that he got a sack. So yeah, I'm gonna be an Oregon homer here, even though I live in Northern California. Actually, technically North Central California. I'm not that north. I'm very close to the Bay, but yeah. With that, we're going to head on to the Shield, the NFL, the playoff picture that really didn't change much. I mean, yeah, I just had to move the Colts, the AFC South champion and the AFC West champion. That's really all I had to do, because Bills and Texans stayed the same, Patriots stayed the same, Ravens stayed the same, Niners, Saints, Packers, Cowboys, Seahawks, and Vikings all stayed the same, because the NFC is very competitive. And I'm just stabbing at people who kept claiming that the NFC is very competitive. We've been saying, oh, Brady wouldn't last there. Well, guess what? 1 week happened, no changes. At least the AFC changed a little. How can you tell me there's competition if I didn't even have to move anything from my graphic? Like, I just didn't have to, just by all logical standpoint. But that's that for playoff prediction. I mean, again, look to last week. Looking forward to Patriots-Ravens. And speaking of that, let's go take a look at our Pigskin Pick'em here. And boy, oh boy, what a comeback. There was 15 games. I got 13 of them. Moved all the way up into the 77th percentile in Pigskin Pick'em. That's very good. I'm in the top 25 now. Trying to go into the top 20. Very good week. Redskins, Vikings, got that. Seahawks, Falcons, closer than I would have got that. Eagles showed up against the Bills. I don't know where that came from, but that's the only complete misstep for me. Bears, kickers missing it again. I guess, yeah, I can't trust them Bears kickers, but I would have had that. And that would have given me 14, but oh well. Rams, Bengals, check. Colts, Broncos, very defensive battle, but check. No more Joe Flacco, so I'll go to that later. Lions, Giants. Yep, don't sleep on the Lions. Titans, Bucks. Yep, got that. I did not trust famous Jameis. Saints, Cardinals. You definitely got that. Jaguars, Jets. Got that. Niners, Panthers. Clinched that. Patriots, Browns. Clinched that. Texans, Raiders. Luckily clinched that. Packers, Chiefs called that. And Steelers, Dolphins. I almost got the exact score. You know, I just pretty much I swapped here. I should have gave the field goal to the Dolphins, or I should have gave the touchdown to the Dolphins and the field goals to the Steelers, but AOA got me 13 points. Again, put me back right up there near the top. Gonna try and aim for that top 20. Got week 9 coming up. Let's make that comeback here. First up, short week. Niners, Cardinals. Cardinals are missing 2 of their running backs. That notice system traded for Kenyon Drake. Screwed me over in fantasy football. Ya bastards, Miami Dolphins. But I'm going to go with the Niners, because this defense is for real. Next up, it is the Texans, Jaguars, and if you've been following the Jaguars, they've lost 2, won 2, lost 2, won 2, so patterns are a thing I like to follow. They're playing a good team, the Texans, so I'm going to say this is part of their next 2-game losing streak right here. Texans over the Jaguars. Next, Redskins, Bills. Bills, show me them Bill Clintons, show me them Bill Murrays, and them Bill Lambiers. I'm going with Buffalo. Next up, Eagles, Bears, a rematch from the playoffs last year, and I do not trust the kicking game in Chicago. I do not trust the offense in Chicago, but I also don't like trusting the Eagles. I think that pick percentage should be a lot closer, just because it should be, but they also don't have Akeem Hicks on the Bears to stop the run game with Miles Sanders going off, so I'm going to go Philadelphia, as much as it pains me to please Philadelphia Eagles fans. Next up, Tennessee Titans versus Carolina Panthers. And the most inconsistent team, the Titans, versus a team that was on a win streak, then decided to implode on itself against the Niners. They are playing a home game, because they had that London game. That's been a while since they've had a home game. They're going to have a roaring crowd behind them. I'm going to mark the Panthers as my win here. Next up, it is the Steelers and Colts, and the Steelers do not know if they want to be good or bad this year. They don't know if their running backs want to be healthy this year. Their quarterbacks want to be healthy. I mean, hell, the Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph just became the first QB in NFL history to win his first 2 games on Monday Night Football. How in the hell does that happen? I have no idea how that happened. That's a weird set of circumstance. I have no idea how you could win your first 2 games on Monday Night Football. And since this is not Monday Night Football, I'm going to roll with the Colts. Next up, Jets, Dolphins. Tanking for Tua, Jets, please. Next up, Raiders, Lions. Stop sleeping on the Lions, folks. I'm going to go book Detroit here. Even though they don't have Kerryon Johnson, I'm going to book Detroit here. I didn't think that much of Kerryon Johnson in the first place. Plus, they got another Johnson, Ty Johnson. So, I'm going to pick that. Famous Jameis versus Russell Wilson. Gonna go with Russell Wilson. That pick percentage is definitely correct. Browns, Broncos. Again, I might have swung Denver here if they had Flacco, but they're not even starting their quarterback that they drafted. They're not even going with Locke here. So I'm gonna go Cleveland, but maybe the Broncos are actually better without Flacco. So who knows there. Packers, Chargers. Packers next. The Chargers are also with the Steelers in deciding if they want to be good or bad. Next up, Ravens, Patriots. The Sunday Nighter. The big game. And I'm going to go with New England. Of course, I'm going to go with New England. That is one scary defense. They have the best secondary in the league. Allows them to stack the box with 7 defenders. Dante Hightower has been a top linebacker in the league. Very underrated just because of the Belichick system. But that's that. And then next, what usually is a Sunday night guarantee, Cowboys and Giants, is on Monday night. So they still get their primetime slot. Sure, it's not the typical NBC Sunday night, but they still get their Monday night primetime Cowboys, Giants. Man, does that suck for all you New Yorkers who have to go to work after Monday. Oh well, not my. And it's a home game too, and technically it's in Jersey, but oh well, not my team. And I got the Cowboys winning, and again, I have the score, because, you know, the tiebreaker is always the Monday night game to predict. I wish it was the Sunday night game, because usually the Sunday night games are better than the Monday night games, but oh well. I got Cowboys 35, Giants 24. Not sure how Michael Bennett's going to do there, but yeah, short episode this week. Didn't have a lot to change, didn't have a lot to mimic and change and yada yada yada. So with that, thank you again. This episode's coming out later than usual just because of some circumstances in my life that kind of had to take above recording this in the morning or the late night. But hey, that's what happens. Should be up fairly reasonable. And with that, I'm going to stop talking so I can actually get it uploaded. Again, thank you for watching. Tune in next week where we're going to have some awesome content, especially because it's Bama LSU week. You don't want to miss that. All right, see you soon.